Good afternoon from the Porsche Pro over here at Porsche Ocala. Today I thought I'd make an abridged how-to video on, of course, the new facelifted 2023 Macans. Now, the facelift came in the 2022 model year, and we saw some exterior styling changes and things like that, but there were some technology changes as well, and I'm not leaving my customers or friends out there, of course, hanging on how to operate anything of the car over here, and we finally have some cars I can do videos on. My goodness, has this situation been really fun about doing videos and trying to get cars that stay in long enough for me to do them. So the first one we're going to start off, of course, is the basic operations of the car, as if you're just brand new getting the car. Once again, we're going to be assuming that the Porsche dealership you may have bought the car from did the My Porsche setup. If not, very important to ask them about that, as it does include a lot of the online features in the car, such as your navigation updates, traffic information, and things along the line like that. Very difficult to set up by yourself to an extent. You have to send in insurance information, a couple of proofs of ownership. It's not terrible, but it's a lot easier if they do it. So the first thing we're going to operate, of course, is we're going to start off with one key. Put the other key inside the house. That one will be the spare, or for whoever else is going to be driving the car, make one yours and make it distinct so you have your own keychain on there. So you can see I got one right over here. Locking and unlocking the car is very easy via the key fob. Of course, unlocking it, just push the unlock, lock, pop in the trunk, you hold that, and of course sounding the alarm is over on this side, and we do have the emergency key fob right there, so you kind of slide and push up, and that'll release that, and then you're able to unlock the driver's door in case the key fob battery is dead or even the car is dead. But we're going to assume, of course, that the car has comfort access. This one in particular does have its Porsche's entry and drive is what they like to refer to it as. And you can tell your car has it because you're going to have that little indentation right there on the door handle. Now, when you touch that indentation, it locks the car. You get the auditory tone, of course, if you have the setting on for that. And then to unlock it, you just reach for the door handle. I see a lot of people, they try to do like a combo and do both at the same time. No, unlock or lock one finger. Very simple, no problems at all. I want to make sure the car doesn't lock on me. And of course, gassing up the car is going to be very easy as well. As long as the car is unlocked, we just push in the little gas tank, pop this little bugger open, we're good to go. It does take premium, 93 octane. Of course, some states, as we can see right over here, 93. Some states only have 91, like California, and of course, you still want to use the highest grade available. Popping the trunk is always a little bit confusing, but if you've seen the previous video, you already know how to do this. But all you're going to do is come right over here under the rear windshield wiper and push the little button that's right there. And of course it pops open, no problems at all, very simple. And you can adjust the height of how far it opens in case you have a low garage or maybe you're on the shorter side, no problems there. All you do is just grab the handle, part of my camera reach here, it's hard to film this, move it to where you want, just physically move it, and then press and hold this button here on the left. You get a little sound that goes do-do-do, just kind of a little upbeat tone there that tells you you've now assigned it that it's only going to open up to this height. But this button normally just closes the trunk, and this one on the right would close, then lock the car. Common issue I hear is when I hit the one on the right, the trunk stops about halfway. Well, I'll show you a situation where that can happen. Let's say I open up the door and leave it there, or even just forgot to close the door all the way. If for whatever reason the car cannot lock, whatever it be, even a hood being popped or anything like that, and I hit that button, it stops. It won't allow you to hit that one on the right if the car cannot be locked. That's it, very simple. But now we're going to hop into the driver's side of the car, of course. We already know how to unlock it and lock the car. We've already discussed that. And we're going to talk about some of the buttons and seat settings and things like that. So first of all, we're going to talk about the buttons. So the buttons on the seat, if you think of it in relation to how the buttons are laid out, it all starts making a little more sense. Whether you have, of course, the standard seats, the 14 ways, or even the 18-way seats, it'll all start making a little bit more sense. So if we start off right over here, the main button, and of course it looks like the bottom part of a seat. And if we were to move that forward, back, the seat moves forward and back. What if we were to lift or lower only the front part? Well, only the front part lowers. What if we were to raise the whole seat? Well, then the whole seat raises or lowers. It's very simple. Well, what's this in front of the seat? Well, the section in front of the seat is your thigh support, and that's going to extend there or retract. Once again, this is depending on equipment. The pitch of your back is right over here because it looks like a backrest. Well, that's simple. And then back over here is our lumbar support. because it's behind, of course, the seat cushion, which makes sense. It's behind there. And you push that forward to extend it out. And you can actually, what I like about filming this is you can actually see it push. Now, if I push it up, it's only going to inflate the upper cushion, which is pretty neat. So yeah, there we go. So there's that one. If I push that up, you can't really see much, but it's lifting up the upper one. If I push it down, it inflates a lower cushion. That's it. Now, if you had the 18-way seats, you would actually have 2 more sets of these buttons, or kind of 2 more of those buttons. One right over here, right above the cushion, which is these side bolsters, and one right in front of here that sits like that, and that's for the side bolsters right over here. So very nice. Now, let's say once you got everything all set in your seat, of course, we've turned on the car, everything is all set. We want to come over here and adjust your mirrors. And the mirrors are very easy as well. We hit this little button right over here, left or right. It will illuminate accordingly to whatever button you're adjusting. And then you use this little dial to adjust the mirrors. That's it. Very simple. So let's go and hop on in because it is a little windy today. And we'll actually do some of the setup. Depending on the region as well, currently, of course, due to chip shortages and everything like that, our steering wheel is just a manual control. So it's very simple. You lower the spoon, move the steering wheel wherever you want it. So you really don't have to worry about any memorization or anything like that for these. No problems there. As I said, adjusting the mirrors, you see the little red light, and then adjust the mirror accordingly. And there we go. Fresh cinder block out there. So as we come down from over there, and we have everything set, everything to where you want it to be. That's going to include things like your AC, radio, treble, and bass, everything like that. What we're going to do is you're going to come over here to the left-hand side, and we're going to hit set. We're going to hit number 1, assuming you're the main driver, of course. But then we're also going to hit set again, and then hit the key, which is at the bottom. The key means that when you unlock the car with your key in particular, everything's going to go to you automatically. The 1 and 2 are manual operation. So let's say it doesn't matter what key you use. You come in the car, you can just head in there and press and hold number 1 or press and hold number 2, and it'll move to whatever you have saved there. So those 2 are manual. This one's essentially automatic. So very nice to have, of course. So 1 and 2 backups. Door locks, very simple there. Nothing to really discuss. Folding in the mirrors, as we see, is right at the top there. Window controls, all very basic. Of course, locking the rear windows is right over here. And popping the trunk is here. And we get the little message that says my trunk is popped. But if I hold that very same button, that one right there that I'm having my finger on, it will close the trunk. And there we go. Pretty cool. From there, of course, once again, we're trying to keep this a little brief. Leave your headlights in automatic. Just leave them there. Makes it a whole lot easier. From there, we get into some of the new stuff. Of course, for 2023, they actually made active cruise control standard on the car. So now we're really going to touch up on it. So you turn on and off the cruise control with this little button right here at the end. When you turn it on, you'll get a little indicator that says active cruise control. Of course, with the little indicator, mainly you're looking for is on the left-hand side, that little tachometer or speedometer looking guy right there. That means it's on standby, that it's waiting for you to tell it what speed you want to set it at. So what I recommend is drive up to 70 miles an hour, and you're going to push it forward because that's the direction you want to go. So if you want to go set the cruise control, you just push it forward like that. And if you want to go faster, it has labels on it, so it's very easy. It's just hard to read on camera. You just push it forward again, or hold it to go faster. Pull it back, so back it off to slow it down. And that's it. It really is that simple. Now, of course, we do see there's off, like resume and off. Pressing it down cancels it. The same thing as if you were to just tap your foot on the brake, which everyone knows how to do that for cruise control. And resume is lifting it straight up. So pretty easy there. The joys of a dealership, always friends messing with you, having a good time. So from there, of course, we're going to have turn signals. I don't think we need to talk about much there, so we're not going to mention it too much. But our high beam operation, you pull it towards you to flash, push it away to, of course, keep them on if it's nighttime. Of course, depending on your equipment, if you do have the PDLS Plus, they will have an automatic symbol, as we see right down over there, illuminate. Just because you have it there doesn't mean you have it. You have to see it illuminate at nighttime. So from there, we're going to talk about the left-hand side of the steering wheel, because this is some of the stuff that changed for the 2023 model year. Left-hand side is going to be our voice commands. If you're hitting that for the first time,
please confirm the message.
You're going to have this message pop up over here saying, would you like to activate online voice recognition? I always recommend it. Very, very important. Otherwise, the voice commands aren't going to work as effectively. That is part of your My Porsche system. Once again, there's a lot of important things you get with that My Porsche account that the dealership sets up with you. From there, we're going to have our volume control, which is here. Or on the left-hand side of the of our little radio dial right over here. If you notice, we also have these little buttons for previous station, next station. When we have a button right over here for next station, but there's no previous one. Because a lot of people are listening to digital forms of music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all that stuff like that. So they really only need next track. And that's why you have it over here. The M button puts the car into manual mode. We're going to touch upon that in just a little bit more. Right-hand side of the steering wheel is still almost the same. We have how to answer and hang up phone calls. These two little buttons kind of work in conjunction with this little digital display right over here. So how it works is as I spin this little dial, it changes what I see. Very simple. And once I see something, maybe I want to change something in it, I can push it in, like a little button, spin it through, and you see now I'm in a submenu. But if I'm like, I don't want to do that, and I really don't recommend doing that unless you're going to be really trying to change some settings, we back out of there. Maybe I'll make a video on the settings that need to be set in the car. That'll come a little bit later. No problems at all there. So that's not what we're doing right now, just operation. And then over here is actually a programmable button. Now the programmable button is going to be done, how to set it up essentially is done during the setup phase. So we're going to, once again, create probably another video for that later. Once again, depending on equipment, we have the Sports Chrono package. This one in particular does have it, obviously, because we have our little dial right over here. If you only have it that over here, it says Sport Mode, you do not have the Sports Chrono package, and this need not apply to you. So this little dial right over here, you can change it at 100 miles an hour, you can change it to 0, but it changes the drive aspects of the car. Whenever you turn the car, you're always in normal mode. No indication of anything anywhere, you're just in normal. Click it over to the left, we enter individual, and you can change it in either direction, it doesn't matter. Individual, once again, is a customized mode that we can change when we're doing the setup process. From there, we go into normal. Sport, as you can see, the RPM jumped up a little bit. Throttle response is sharper, exhaust is a little louder, suspension is a little stiffer right down over here, but we can control that independently. Go into Sport Plus, holds the res even longer, maintains boost between gear changes. It does quite a lot. Just once again, really puts the car into a very heavy sport mode. And of course, the suspension even more. Then we're going to have a little button down over here in the middle, and this is called the Sport Response button. Essentially 20 seconds of Super Sport Plus Plus, if you can just give it a silly name to help make it a little easier to remember. And of course, you hit it again, you can cancel, or just let it run out of time. Very useful if you're passing somebody on the highway, if you're just in normal mode, or you're at a red light, you need to get in front of somebody to make your turn properly, something like that. That's the button for you. Very nice and easy. You can hit it whenever you want. From there, we're coming down to some of the other changes right over here in the center console. The windshield wipers are all the same, so I don't really want to spend a lot of time on that. Essentially, if you, of course, have automatic windshield wipers, you're just going to lift it up one tick right there, and then, of course, flick this little guy up one, and that puts it into automatic, and with, of course, one extra bit of sensitivity right there. Rear wipers, you can see there, puts it in intermittent if you need the rear wiper, and you pull the whole thing towards you if you want to spray the front, and twist this all the way up or all the way down to spray the rear. We're not going to spend a lot of time on that because it's just not that bad. Coming down over here, we're going to have the AC buttons, which have changed pretty drastically, as we can see, but it's still, the operation is almost exactly the same. AC max for hot days. Sync matches the passenger side to the driver's side, so no problems there. So in case if I change it from over here to 70 and I were to hit sync, it matches it back up to 72. And if I change this one, it also changes that side. That's it. Front windshield defrost because it's curved. Over here, you can see rear windshield defrost, if I can point at it right there. Sorry for the camera quality, a lot of glare today. Air circulation right there, and AC. We're in Florida, that'll never be turned off. But even if you need heat, you don't need to turn that off. Just turn up the temperature, the car handles the rest. So we have the temperature all the way in the left or right-hand side, of course, once again, depending if the passenger or driver. A lot of this is gonna be mirrored. Fan speed right over here for the driver, and of course the inner one for the passenger. Where the air comes from, so up ahead, like up above in the dash, your face or your feet, same thing on the passenger side. But if we're in auto, which is what I prefer to do, it controls this whole column. And that's all I do. I hit auto, change my temperature what I want, let the car do the work. Anytime you hear auto, the car's doing the work for you. You don't need to adjust fan speed, you don't need to adjust where the air comes from, it does it. Heated seats and ventilated seats, you can have those both going on at the same time. In case maybe your back's hurting, but you don't want to get sweaty with turning on the heated seats, you can do that. We have your suspension stiffness right over here. Once again, as I mentioned, you can control that independently of your drive modes. So if I'm in Sport Plus currently still right now, but I can solve the suspension. If you have air suspension, we'll also adjust the ride height. Traction control, don't turn this off. Leave it as is. That is your Porsche stability management and traction control. If you press and hold that, it does turn off a lot of the safety systems of the car that prevent wheel spin and, of course, over and understeer situations. We don't want that. Off-road mode, just as it says, only hit that if you're going off-road. This little guy looks like it's going down a hill, and that's what it is. It's Porsche's hill control. If we're going down not like a little tiny little dip in altitude, we're talking going down a really steep road or mountain road or rock crawling kind of down thing. That's your button right there. Lane keep assist also became standard with Porsche for the 2023, and that's this little button. Some people like it, some people don't. You can turn it on and off as you wish. So this is saying if you're above about, I think it's about 40 miles an hour and you just start drifting from the lane, it can steer back in for you. And then, of course, you have the auto start stop. If the light is on, the car stays on. If the light is off, the car can turn off. So just something just to remember, just an easy little kind of phrase that makes it a little bit easier to remember. So if that's off, that means the car could turn off at a red light. That's it. Now, we're almost done to the infotainment. We're going to talk a little bit about the overhead console. Nothing has really changed up here, so there's not really much to address. I'm going to try to change the camera angle to make it a little bit easier. Once again, garage doors, I'm not going to really touch up on those because every brand has a little bit different of a process. So to make a video for garage doors, shoot, I'd have to probably go through at least 10 of the major brands. So from here, we have reading light on the left-hand side. Same thing on this side right there. This one, which looks like the sun setting, it pretty much turns on every light inside the car. So that's that little guy. This little guy turns on and off the door light, saying, well, when you open up the door, do you want the lights to come on or not? And that's it. From here, we're going to rotate it again because, once again, camera angle is very hard to maintain when I'm the only one filming here. There we go. This little guy turns on the rear lights because it looks like the back of the car. I'm going to show that off really quick. You can see that there. This one here, which looks like a half sun, actually gives a little bit of ambient glow at nighttime. You probably can't see it on camera, but it'll make this area up top glow just a bit. The one that says off P, which is right there, that turns off your parking sensors. Let's say you're going through a car wash or something and the car going beep, 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 it doesn't shut up. That will shut it up, but obviously be wary. Your car will not beep if you get close to something that maybe you don't want to hit. So just keep that in mind there. From over here, we're going to have the sunroof screen. So once again, depending on equipment, that guy can only go two directions. And it makes sense. If you really think of it, these next moonroof buttons, I'm actually going to hop out of the car so I can film this a little bit easier. I apologize for the camera angles, everybody. But if you see that little button right there towards the top, it can only go in two directions, back or forward. So that only lets me push it back or forward, just as a little button. You can see that opening up all the way. Very simple. Now the sunroof itself, which is this big piece of glass, can go in four directions. So we really want to touch upon that because that's this button right here, which is kind of the more square one. That one can go in four directions as well. And you just push it wherever you want it to go. And once again, it all makes sense. So I'm trying to film it, but it's quite difficult. So this little guy, if I want the sunroof to go back, I push it back. If I want to go forward, I push it forward. If I want it to tilt up, like a little vent, I push it up. And if I wanted to close it, I'd close it. That's it. So that concludes the hardest part to film on the car, because I have to hold the iPad at very weird angles. But now we get into the infotainment system. And once again, I like to keep things easy because this is the same as it was in the pre-facelift era, so it's not really much to touch on. Our homepage is customizable. We're not going to talk much about this right there, but we can hit option right over here. So you can see this little option button right there, or the little hamburger at the top is what I like to call it, and configure the home and customize it. But once again, we'll do the setup video, so we're not going to worry about that today. Navigation system. I really love this system because it is about as easy as it gets. We can use voice commands, as we have already seen how to do on the steering wheel, or if you see the little magnifying glass, that's what you're going to hit to start something new. So we're going to hit this little guy right there and type in what we want. For example, let's do some fine cuisine over here. Oh yes, I actually spell it right. And as I type in Burger King, I can hit this little guy right over here. And obviously I see how to start guidance. Hitting the little star would favorite it. I even see the phone number of the business here. And check it out. I even have a street view if you're trying to see. Let's say there's two of the same restaurant in town, but one of them's good, maybe one of them's not so good, maybe it's not as good run as the other one. You can actually see a picture of it and get an idea. Is that the one I like to go to? You can see Yelp reviews. And once again, a lot of this is part of the My Porsche experience thing, but it's really cool. So let's say we started guidance. We're on our way. We know this is the one. We're good to go. Well, stopping guidance is just as easy as hitting stop. That's it. That's the navigation system. Start would just restart the last navigation that was entered into the car. So let's say you're on the highway, you have your home address in there. Hey, let's stop, let's get off the highway, go grab a bite to eat. Stop guidance. You hit that stop. All right, you're done eating, you're ready to start up guidance to go back home again. You just hit start, starts it right back up again. That's it, very simple. Media, which is on the left-hand side right over there, can be one of the more complicated pages, but I like to simplify it for you. As we remember, if we want to favorite, of course, a station or like a navigation address, we hit the start. Well, it's the same thing for favoriting a station. It adds it to our favorites. So if I hit that, that's it. It would favorite 102.9. Next station is this little button, which is the same as that one. Previous station is the same as that one. No difference at all. Very simple. Great, okay. Well, I want to see a list of all the stations. Well, that's what we got, list. It's right there. Here's a list of all the local stations coming in at the best reception. I get a lot of questions about what is the HD1, HD2 in areas with a lot of broadcast stations, HD2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, I've even seen as high as 7s apparently, can play different broadcasts, but all on the same signal. If you notice, 102.3 has HD1, 2, and 3. They could all three be playing different things, but are all still part of 102.3. So it's nice to be able, because there's only a certain amount of signals you can have in one area between, what is it, 88.1 or something and 107.7. You start running out of space. This allows more. So that's it there. So list pulls up all this, the list of the local stations coming at the best reception. Well, what if you wanted to listen to 96.7? I can hit tune. I can spin the little dial over here and twist it to wherever I want, or I can even hit this guy. Depth perception is always fun when looking at the camera, and type in 96.7. Okay, and it went to 96.7. That's it. Favorites is just a list of all your favorites. Right now I have nothing down there. My recently playeds are over here. If I want to drag a recently played station and put it into my favorites, I can do that. If I want to remove it, it tells me, if I hold it, drag favorite to the top to delete. So I delete it. That's it. Changing the source is as simple as where you see where it says FM, choose the source you want. Bluetooth, AM, Sirius, that's it. Sirius XM has ever so slight differences because we have two sets of arrows. And of course, the outer arrows are fast forward and rewind. So you can see I can rewind the station. And of course, the inner ones are next station, previous station. And that's it. Pretty easy there. From there, telephone. Once again, this is kind of more of the setup process. But if we want to search for a new phone, and this is your first time getting the car, it's very simple. You'll hit search for new phone, go onto your Bluetooth compatible phone, turn on Bluetooth, and sit on the Bluetooth menu. Eventually, you'll see your phone pop up on the list and follow the steps as it says. It walks you through pretty easily. Just be aware you're going to have pop-ups on the phone and pop-ups on the car. And while you're learning the car, when it asks you about Apple CarPlay, I don't recommend it while you're learning the car. Once you feel like you have a good grasp on everything, we can talk about Apple CarPlay. That's it. So for the core functions of the car, that's about it. Of course, we have car, which is just a lot of settings and trip computer stuff. Once again, part of the setup process. Apps is going to be a lot of the functionality, once again, with the My Porsche trial account, weather reports, news reports, gas stations and their gas prices, finding hotels and stuff like that. It really is a nice little thing. Sound is going to be when you want to adjust the treble and bass or anything like that, of course. Fader, everything like that, balance. Really nice in the Bose surround sound system. I know somebody a long time ago asked me what linear FM is, and that's what it tells you, is just neutral tone adjustment, recommended for audiophile music enjoyment. What it actually does, I'm not sure, but it does seem to help with some compressed music, especially satellite radio is really hissy. It helps to have that on, especially when you listen to a lot of satellite radio. Devices is where it's going to show you the list of all the phones. I will quickly show you how to delete a phone. So we hit the little hamburger or the option button, doesn't matter which, they're all the same. And we hit delete paired devices. If I actually hit it right, I'm I'm not going to look at the camera doing it. And then I hit the phone that I want to delete, and I hit delete. And now it's gone. In short, folks, that's how quickly we can go through almost the entire operation of a car. And I even went a little more in depth with some things than we normally do. But I do thank you for listening to my video and watching my videos. If you do have any questions, as always, please post them in the comments or send me a message. I do like to make videos whenever we do have cars in, and I'm happy to help anybody out there. Take care. Bye.